What is going on YouTube chat and also Discord stage? Welcome to your Strats Weekly for the week of 10 July 2021. As always, I am your host, Auth. Thanks for being with us. What up, Taco? Zarek, Braden, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here.
Holla.
How's everybody's weekend going so far?
Super.
You love to hear it.
I love to hear it. Occasion.
Shout out to everybody who's here, who's making the grand sacrifice of not watching the HoloLive Ian Singer debut stream. That's about a half hour in right now. I'll be watching the VOD after this. No shame.
So that's why Vecino's not here.
I was worried Taco wasn't going to be here. I actually gave half a thought. I was like, man, do I just can the stream, watch the debut? And I was like, nah, I can't do that. I'll never hear the end of it if I do that. Vecino will grief me in perpetuity. Oh man. But yeah.
Started being griefed. Okay, single player game.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, once again the current meme culture is everybody can't believe that I just don't enjoy single player games. It's crazy. It's almost like I want social interaction. It's almost like I enjoy that far more than like just beating up on a computer. Which is weird because sometimes I just beat up on Vecino, which is basically the same thing as beating up on a computer. Man.
What about the story off? Don't you ever read a fucking book?
I don't actually. I very rarely read books. I think, honestly, so like, that's something I've always wondered about, right? So, the idea of mandatory reading in school, I don't know how much they do up in the Great White North. Down here, it's like a pretty big deal, like mandatory reading at like different initiatives and different programs. Like I remember Pizza Hut or Mr. Gaddy's had a summer reading program where you could get stickers to get free like personal pan pizzas. And I know it, like I had in junior high, I had a mandatory, one of my classes was literally reading. It was like a 90-minute block every other day where all you did was read. Like there were like you brought books in, you would read, and then we submitted not like book reports per se, but something that demonstrated that we, actually read the material. It wasn't like a graded class per se. It was almost pass fail in a way, but it was, you had to be reading. And I remember a lot of different things like that.
Can you imagine being the teacher for that class? It's like you show up and then you tell people to read and then you just sit there.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, that teacher was the coolest. No lie. There was one time where somebody fell asleep, and that was like a huge no-no. Like, I mean, because it was super quiet, and I had it in the morning to boot. It was like first period every other day for me. So it was very common that you'd come in there and you were tired. Like some people were just tired if you didn't get a good night's sleep. And it was a huge type of the teacher. Hated it when you slept. He was definitely in camp, like, grab a textbook and slam it as hard as he can on your desk to startle you awake. Well, there's one guy who was just a repeat offender, and he just, I guess he just had enough, and he got told, the guy was sleeping, and the teacher is like, nobody wake him up. Nobody is allowed to wake him up. And we had to, shuffle classrooms all the time, and this was the only class that he taught in that classroom. He had to go to a different classroom also. So when the bell rang, the kid didn't wake up. Everybody left as quiet as possible. The teacher stayed behind and told all the incoming kids not to wake the kid up. And I had a friend that was in the follow-up class, and apparently he woke up like 10 minutes into the next class. It was like, just like the confusion and panic was apparently palpable. I wish I was in the follow-up class, not the class that like initiated that shenanigans, but oh, so good. But yeah, all the mandatory reading classes, honestly, I think did a number on me. It's like there are foods that Mom used to force on me when I was growing up. It was very much like, you will clean your plate, you will eat what I cook at my house growing up. And there are foods to this day that like I'm horribly averse to because of that. And I think maybe the same thing happened a bit with me for reading, because like I'll happily read like websites forums, news articles, stuff like that. But when it comes to actually like sitting down and reading like a novel of some sort, I'm out. I'm just not interested at all. It does nothing for me. I think since high school, I've maybe read like 3 books, legitimately, like novel type books.
Yeah, I have like I'm on and off when it comes to reading. It's like sometimes I will read for like hours a day, and then there'll be like a 4-month span where I don't read anything.
Yeah, that's very much how Precious is. Precious, when she's in like a reading mood, there's just a pile of books at her desk, and they just like get gone through so fast. But when she's not in a reading mood, she reads nothing for same deal, like months at a time.
Yeah, I think there was one time when it was like a number of years ago when I lost my job and I had like nothing to do for like a few weeks, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna read the Harry Potter books, and I read all like 7 Harry Potter books.
Oh, just back to back to back
in like 3 weeks.
That's a way to do it. That's like, I imagine that's akin to marathoning like the extended edition of Lord of the Rings. It's an endurance trial by the end.
I'd like get up, I'd have my coffee, and then I would go and just like lie down and read, and then I'd like get up and do something for a while, and then I would just like lie down and read again, and then I would go to bed. And then do the same thing the next day.
Actually,
so it was like 4 hours break, 4 hours bed.
Nice. I've read the first Harry Potter book, which was for academic decathlon. That was one of the like half dozen books that was on that reading list, so I had to read it for that. But I've not read any others. I did finally actually watch all of the films. I'd seen the first couple, but they recently hit HBO Max, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna work my way through them at my own pace, and like finally saw them all.
My issue with the Harry Potter films is that like I get why they did it, but the books are more for like all ages. They're appropriate for all ages, but they're not geared towards a certain age.
Right.
Whereas I felt the movies were really geared towards kids.
Yeah, I mean in terms of
child actors are always rough. Even though some of them turned out to be great actors, they were still child actors at the time.
Yeah, there's especially the first couple films when they were like super young. But yeah, I was interested because there are people who hold the Harry Potter films, and I imagine this is like the more excitable portion of the fan base perhaps. There are people who hold those films on like the same tier as the original Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh god, no.
Yeah, well, and I've seen comments to the contrary from members of like the fandom who are like, like they're fine, they're good, they're decent, they're above average movie adaptations of books, but they are not Lord of the Rings quality at all. And like anybody who says they are is just, they're not a new modern classic. They're not nearly on the same tier on like any level, writing or content or production value. Just they're not. They're fine, they're good, but like don't try to compare the two. Is how I've seen some people describe it. So I went in very curious, and I would agree they're totally fine. I didn't have an issue with any of them. I enjoyed them well enough. Like, it was an enjoyable experience. I don't know if I'll ever watch them again, but I'm not upset that I watched them.
I don't know. For me, it was like the only reason I watched them in the first place is because it was interesting to like see like the decided visuals of what happened in the story. But at the same time, like they felt very like generic movie to me.
Yeah.
Like I would go and watch the Lord of the Rings movies. I would never just like voluntarily be like, you know what, I'm gonna go watch the Harry Potter movies because they're just like.
Yeah, my house, we watch them all over and over.
Oh, the Harry Potters.
Yeah, we watch them all back to back, and then we'll have them in the background just for like when we had enough background stuff.
Yeah, but the question is, would you do that if you didn't have kids?
Yes.
Would you?
Oh yeah, as my wife is a big Harry Potter head.
Yeah, like I think the lore is pretty interesting. I think the universe that they've got is actually like pretty solid. Yeah, like there's a lot to like about it, and I think as someone who didn't read the books, since I'm not like super invested in it, I think that's part of what makes me like, yeah, they were fine as just a movie going experience. The narrative more or less made sense. There were a few things that I thought were a bit odd, but that's probably more a byproduct of the transition from paper to film, as opposed to, you know, just being objectively bad storytelling or like narrative cohesion. I imagine there was some stuff lost in the translation for sure.
Yeah, I think that series is up there with every other like significant series. Like, yes, I would say that it's a little less adult than the other ones, but I think like the amount of like lore and world building and thought that went into that series and like building that world, I think is on par with the other stuff. There's a lot of people that I see like give it shit because they're like, oh, the writing isn't like, you know,
I mean, they're
really like pretentious.
They're
It's
like,
like,
young adult
okay,
novel.
but-
Like they're targeted at young adults. Like they're not. It's not written by like J.R.R. Tolkien, right?
No.
Or George R.R. Martin. Like they're not targeted at like a predominantly adult audience. They were clearly targeted at a younger demographic. It doesn't make them objectively bad just because they're written for a younger audience. Like if you don't like reading content for a younger audience, like that's fine. You're allowed to not enjoy reading that, but I think it's a bit of a stretch to call them bad based on just the one that I read.
Like,
anyhow.
I agree that they're not like the writing itself is not sophisticated, but I also don't think that you need super sophisticated writing to have an interesting story.
We're gonna have a big, huge fantasy series. The TV adaptation's coming out by Amazon later this year.
What is for Harry Potter?
Wheel of Time.
Oh, Wheel of Time. Oh, right.
man.
Yeah.
I need to read
and
that. I need to
that's-
read those books.
And that is it's gonna be the same thing with Harry Potter, with Game of Thrones. Somebody's expectations, well, most people's expectations are not gonna directly translate.
Yeah, I think there was
You know
some
what I mean?
disappointment around Game of Thrones, but I think like in terms of an adaptation of a book, like that was an exceptional series. Minus,
Yeah, that was good.
As long as
The
they
Wheel
had
of
source
Time
material.
adaptation's gonna be tough because that book series is hard to read sometimes.
yeah.
There's a good couple books in the middle where the series kind of drags.
But I think I'm glad that they're doing a lot of adaptations into series now and not movies.
Yeah.
I think that was the problem with Harry Potter is that it happened at like kind of right before they started doing that. I think that would have been a million times better as a series.
Yeah, more time to flesh out the world building and for character development. You don't have to rush it on so fast. And you don't have to worry about like I feel like one other difference, like critical difference between a series and a film, a lot of times I feel like there's I don't know if it's based on an expectation they think exists with the audience, but I feel like they go so hard sometimes on certain visual effects and just like it has to be this huge grandiose such and such blah blah blah, like it has to like be worthy of the big picture or the big screen, I should say, so to speak, rather than, you know, just being good of its own merits. I feel like small screen adaptations, while they can have those epic moments, I don't feel like they're produced as if they are beholden to them. I feel like whereas things that are going to the big screen, there's an expectation that they're, you know, grand.
I think that's why, like, probably my favorite two things from Marvel Universe have been WandaVision and Loki. They have a lot more time to develop the whole thing than a movie.
Yeah. Ooh, that's right. The last episode of Loki is this coming week, right?
This week, yeah.
Hey, I get to finally watch Loki. Woo.
Yeah. Oh, it is great.
There are definitely some movies I'll watch, but for the most part, I generally don't watch movies. I just don't think it's a good medium for. Like, I don't want to say it's a bad, but like relative to others, like I just don't think it's a great medium. It's like, okay, you need to like introduce the characters, you need to develop the characters, you need to develop the world, you need to have like a big conflict, and you need to resolve the conflict, and you have less than 2 hours to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just not a good storytelling medium.
I think it can be, but it's
That's
not.
true. There are good, but like generally,
Yeah, I would say you're definitely not going to get the same depth, and that's one thing that I really appreciate about series over movies. When I go into a movie, generally I'm looking to fill a block of time with entertainment. I'm not necessarily there to get hyper invested in a lore and stuff like that. Like there are exceptions, obviously, but generally when I'm thinking about watching a movie, I'm looking for something to entertain me. I'm not necessarily looking to get like a real deep connection with the media or the content being provided necessarily. Like, and there, like I said, there's exceptions. Like, and even within a couple of different, or with like the same, individuals behind the scene. I'm terrible with names, so I'm not going to try and remember who. But I really enjoyed the movie Inception. I felt like that was a good example of a well-paced movie with a good storyline, with developed characters and stuff like that. Like you understood the lore, the world building and such, and it worked really well. But the same guy did Tencent, which I watched recently, and Tencent.
Oh, Tenet.
Tenet, yeah, that's what it was. Tenet, yeah, and Tenet was really interesting, and I felt super left wanting afterwards compared to Inception. Like Inception felt really good, and I really enjoyed. I understood what was going on. I understood the world, the mechanics and stuff. But with Tenet, I just didn't get that same satisfaction from it, and I felt like there were loose ends. There were things that just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me as I was watching it. And like maybe I have to watch it 10 times and look for every single little detail, but I'm not into that kind of investment into a movie, So I feel like it can be hit and miss, even with people who are, known to be very good at delivering through that specific media.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm sure there's other good movies that I'm missing out on because I just generally don't watch them, though there have been some exceptionally good ones. Two that come to mind are The Truman Show.
Oh, Truman Show was so good.
And Parasite.
Yes.
Was like really good.
I was unprepared for Parasite. I went in knowing nothing, and I was not prepared.
Yeah, that's a great movie. And you know what? I'm gonna throw in there in like top. I'm gonna call it a film. Top films I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Burnham's new special.
Still haven't watched it. I know you've told me to watch it.
Oh my god,
it's so
good.
I'll get to it. On the to-do list. It's actually it is the top of my comedy to-do list when I'm like in the mood for comedy. That's where I'm going.
Let's put it this way. I would say that Inside is comedy in the same way that Parasite is comedy. Let's put it that way.
I'll still watch it. Next time I'm just like I'm listless. And I have a block of a movie-ish linked block of time.
Oh, I'm dying.
Yeah, because I didn't know anything. I watched it pretty early on because somebody linked me to somebody I work with linked me to a clip of it. Probably like a couple days after it came out, so I hadn't heard anything. And then I was like, oh, like that was pretty funny. And then I just kind of like started to watch it. I've now seen it probably 7 times.
Wow, that's pretty intense. That speaks volumes from somebody who doesn't watch movies very often.
Yes. But it also helps that the songs are catchy as fuck. So sometimes I'll skip over the rest of the content of the movie and just listen to some of the songs I like.
That's fair. I mean, by that, with as recently as it came out, I think you're allowed to skip over bits that were less enjoyable if you're rewatching it for the 7th time.
Yes. Yeah, I wouldn't even call them less enjoyable. It's like I know what happens. So it's like, you know what? I just kind of want to hear him singing the song again.
Fair. Oh, man. Oh, shit. Okay. We got super off track.
Yes.
we got to talk about a bunch of games. Shit.
Books.
We were talking about books and movies, but we got to also talk about games. Damn. All right. Let's get back on track. Boom.
Bed Bath & Beyond.
All right. Let's slam a couple of these real quick that are easy. World of Warcraft. We play World of Warcraft Shadowlands around here. Nightlife's in charge of all that. You can find him down in the Blizznerds channel bragging about his new Nilghanimot, or however you pronounce it. Nilghanimot? Taco, how do you pronounce that? Any guesses?
Where?
Zarek? It's the new mount he got. I don't know what it's called. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's a lot of letters.
Blizznerds?
Yeah. It's a new Nilghanimahtt.
There's too many H's in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of consonants making friends with one another that don't make sense to me, especially H's.
I don't know because I didn't.
And no Ganimot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my best
that must
guess.
be a new mount.
I mean, it looks cool as hell. He put a picture in there if you didn't see it. It looks damn cool. Like a skeletized, like an armored skeleton version of Thing from Adam's Family. He's like riding the wrist.
Yeah.
Pretty all right. Pretty damn cool. But yeah, we play that. We're Horde side on Area 52. Sometimes Nightlife streams his content over on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Stratsco. Feel free to check it out over there. And hit him up in Blizzards if you're interested in getting involved in what's going on over there. What other games? Games. Path of Exile. Ooh. 3.15, which is the new league, is being announced via stream on Twitch Thursday on the 15th. 4 p.m. Eastern,
Yay.
1 p.m. Pacific. So we will find out finally what it is, since they have been... This is the most trickled announcement I've ever seen. It's like there was an announcement for the announcement of the teaser trailer, which ended up being like 15 or 16 seconds long, and announced the announcement stream. Like, it's been just such a string along of just...
Bex, but they're holding Bex back this time. Usually she's out there in every Reddit thread.
I mean, just...
sprinkling some information.
I mean, there's no reason. I don't believe there's any reason they should be holding back, but what do I know? I don't know what they're up to. I'd love for them to just give us the information. Just put it out there. We want to know. That's all we're here for.
Don't nerf Cyclone. Thanks.
I mean, just remove Cyclone from the game, please, and thank you.
What?
It's just bad. Taka, you got to get a new build, man. You got to.
Come on, man.
You got to. Did you see some of
It's
the new
only
skills
thing
in the
that
teasers?
Yeah, the one that slams down and
Yeah,
like
that big blue plus sign.
yeah, that looks kind of cool.
There is absolutely going to be a Glad Jonas.
It looks like it's chaos. It might buff some chaos stuff.
Maybe. It's either that or cold. That's based on the
Yeah.
coloration. I have no doubt there's going to be some sort of very noisy version of that and the purple skill. Like purple, like looked like like your character was almost like a fountain and then it exploded. There's gonna be some visually noisy shit coming up this next league, no doubt.
It's gonna be cool.
They will.
Dude, it's
We have a new person joining us.
Alondro. It's Alondro. He's
Alondro.
back from the dead. He was gone for like over a week because
Huzzah.
Canada's on fire.
This is true. Part of it.
Pacific Northwest, so some of the United States was also on fire.
Yeah, I haven't seen Biggles in a hot minute either. I know he's around. He's just like he's laying low right now, I think, as well, because it is toasty over there. But as a Houstonian, I promise you, I know what it's like. It sucks. Although we have the humidity. Do you guys is it humid on the West Coast? I don't feel like it was when I visited San
It's
Antonio.
super-
It can be.
Like West Coast is supposed to be like Mediterranean, which is dry in the summer
Mm,
and wet in the winter.
Which is odd because the West Coast is like on the water.
yeah. Well, so is the
Yeah,
Mediterranean.
with mountains like right there. So like as soon as you hit the land, it's like a tiny bit of flat land, then mountains.
Oh, is it, you have like a little coastal area and then it's just like like sheer cliffs going straight up.
Yeah. Meanwhile, friggin' Ontario, where I lived, is humid as fuck in the summer.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
you got
It's
the
like-
Great
it's
Lakes,
like-
right?
Yeah, it's like 90% humidity every day in the summer.
Yeah, dude, it is sweltering down here. It's been raining cats and fucking dogs for like 3 or 4 days straight. Today was like the only day in the last week, I think, that we didn't get some rain.
Is it humid there?
Yeah, a bit. Just a bit. It is extremely humid. We have very similar humidity to what you're talking about. Like we're 80, 90, 100% humidity quite often.
Yeah.
We're not quite as bad as some parts of Louisiana or Georgia, but it's pretty bad still. It's usually 80 to 90% in the summer. And very plausible to hit triple digits.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. In a while back, I bought for my place that didn't have air conditioning. I bought an evaporative cooler rather than an AC just to like
Got him?
try it. And like, holy shit, I didn't realize how useless it was in humid climates.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I didn't even know those existed for the entirety of like my non-adult life because I lived in like coastal Texas my whole non-adult life. So I had no idea like such a thing even existed. And when I heard about it, I was like, how would that even work though? It's so humid. You can't like evaporate anything. Because
Yeah,
you
it's
just
just
sit there and sweat.
that's probably why it's just not intended because I hadn't heard of them either, and I think it's just like there's a reason that in this area I have not heard of them.
Mm. Oh. Yeah. But yeah, Path of Exile, Thursday, coming soon.
So, so Path of Exile. After our conversation, that somehow turned into friggin' evaporative coolers.
Look, anybody who comes to the Strats Weekly on the regular knows that there is absolutely no way we move in a linear fashion through everything. The only time that happens is when everybody else is busy and it's literally just me, and I do like a Strats Weekly abridged, and I just run through all of our stuff for about half an hour. Like, anytime there's anyone else here, it's always an extreme side rail. Although, admittedly, Braden, you are like a king derailer.
Yeah.
You just even like in previous iterations of the weekly and monthly, very very good at derailing.
It's a very special skill set that I have.
Developed a
Even
particular
now,
set of
I'm
skills.
derailing. Even now, I derail us.
Oh my gosh. Let's talk about Princess Connect. Hey, Princess Connect. Alundrel's here, so we can definitely talk about Princess Connect. Lots of cool stuff there. Clan Battle rewards are out. If you didn't know that, Alundrel, they're out. They came out day before yesterday, I think. We made it to 1614, which is almost 100 places higher than we got last month. So ever onwards and upwards. We're doing it. We're trying to live that top 1500 dream for the next reward tier. So I'm just glad that we're moving forward. So hopefully we will continue to climb and eventually hit that tier. Area 15 came out yesterday. So that's gear level 10-4, which is important for any of your characters that you took to 10-3, and any of the characters that were recommended or that you chose to leave at 9-6, probably best to just leave them there. 10-4 is not going to make a big difference compared to 10-3 for most characters. There's like one or two edge cases, but generally speaking, if you're somebody who's trying to be optimal about your characters, if you didn't take them to 10-3 previously, probably just leave them and just get the gear, start collecting it, so that when 10-5 comes out, which will be a pretty big stat boost, then you start worrying about maybe taking them to 10-5. What else? Summer Carol banner is also live as of yesterday. This is only going to be available in the month of July. It will not be available again until next year. And she is damn strong. Like, we're talking, this is the magic attack version of Makoto. She is borderline mandatory for anybody who is taking clan battles in particular seriously. She's also she's only going to get better when her unique equipment drops next year as well. But she is a magic defense shredder. She's also like number 6 overall of like all magic attack characters in terms of damage. She's huge, big character.
Is she hot?
She's a tsundere, and I think she's supposed to be a teenager. I'm not really sure. I'm so far behind on the storyline of the game. She's not my waifu, but she's definitely a lot of people's waifus, which is why there's a summer version of her. She's one of the main characters of the anime and the game. Braden, you can always just watch the anime, and then you can feel like a connection to when we talk about this game.
Anime?
Yeah, there's an anime.
There you go.
I think they're working on season 2 right now. It's a half season length. I think there's that one coming. Or I think season 2 is in production.
Is it called the same thing?
Yeah, Princess Connect Redive.
Is it any good?
I have no idea. Alundrel's seen it. Alundrel, is it any good?
What? No, it's not bad. I mean, I like the game more. Like, the story is filled out a lot more in the game. I was just like, oh, I'm watching the videos that I've watched in the game.
Got him.
Yeah, they just
exactly.
they just took the cutscenes and put them all together.
Well, no, I mean, like,
There's a lot more, but it's the actual
But yeah.
story is filled out more from the because you get a lot of scenes in the actual game. Like, each character has all their information when you like give them their when you feed them all their candy and crap, right?
I'm sorry, what? You find young girls
game.
and you give them candy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the van, in your van.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, technically at the house.
There's a van.
Come to my house. I have candy.
It's true.
But,
Specifically chocolate.
yeah, you get a lot more information when as opposed to watching the anime.
Yeah, I mean, it's an isekai anime. I haven't seen it yet. I might watch it at some point, honestly, because I am so far behind on watching the story. Like, I've been skipping through character stories just for the stats, and I've got probably a dozen or more characters I haven't watched the stories on. I've watched none of the guild stories, and I am, oh my goodness, maybe like area 8 or 9 worth of story, like mainline story in. I'm super behind on a whole lot of stuff. I got a lot of catching up to do if I ever want to understand exactly what's going on. Never mind event stories. I've missed most of those. I'll have to find those on YouTube somewhere. But yeah, we're doing that. Speaking of event stories, we do have a new story event also. Summer Mifuyu, only way to get her is through this event. It won't be back until maybe next year. I know at some point they start bringing back the old stories to be replayable for people who missed them because they either weren't playing or just didn't get to it. So Summer Mifuyu, though, just have to play the story a bit, fight the boss a handful of times, and you'll get it super easy. And if you want to grind it, there are Akino shards if you haven't finished 5-starring your Akino like I haven't. So I'm looking forward to getting a 5-star Akino by the end of this, hopefully. Fingers crossed. That's what's going on.
I think Catloop's the only one that's 5-star.
I mean, I've got her 4-star, and I've got a handful of her shards. I got like 50 of her shards or something like that. She's Akino. When unique equipment drops, Akino gets like real spicy. She's already a completely, totally fine, workable character, but she gets even better when unique equipment drops for her. So if you don't have it, by all means, worth getting. Yeah, that's what's going on in Princess Connect. If you're interested in joining our clan, we have empty spots right now. We obviously, I'd call us semi-casual. Like, we goof off, we chat about it. We do stuff together, but then we take the clan battles decently serious. Nobody's like putting out a schedule and jumping down people's throats, but we talk about what comps do and don't work, stuff like that. So if you're interested in a semi-casual guild experience within Princess Connect, hit me up. Just hit me up in gaming or send me a DM on the Discord. I can get you sorted out for that. EVE Online. Yep, we play EVE Online. We are wormholers in EVE Online. There's nobody to talk about EVE Online right now. I think Vecino's probably still crying and lamenting over San Francisco getting stomped, but I'm not one to talk because Houston Outlaws also got super stomped. More on that later. God, oh, it hurt to watch. But we are wormholers. We live across 2 different wormholes, one in C2, one in C4. If you are interested in experiencing wormhole space in EVE as a player who's looking for a new corp, feel free to apply. Hop down to the Internet Spaceships channel. Ask for Vorthos, ask for Vecino, ask for Sinish. Any of those guys can get you sorted out. We are also the executors of an alliance of mostly wormhole corps, obviously. If you're a corp that's looking for an alliance in wormhole space, feel free to chat up one of those guys and see about possibly joining us. We are in particular still shopping for somebody who's in Australia-ish time zone to help cover some of the dips in our population at that point in time. We still have players playing, we just don't have near the presence that we have during the NA and EU time zones. So if you are an Aussie Corp time, then by all means, please hit us up. If you're looking to join New Eden, we take all types, returning veterans, new bros, as well as people who just never stopped playing and are looking for something new. Details are down there in Internet Spaceships. You can type !EVE. ESO, Taco. How's ESO going? I know we got a trader this week. Hype?
Trader.
It's fun.
Get them.
No. Trader with a D. We just super important. Taco's distracted because he's watching the stream still.
With a trader. No, I'm not. I'm coming in and out. You know what I mean?
I know you are.
No,
well,
in and out, bro.
I know because you're DMing me about it.
We play game. We're about 460 members.
Way to
right
out him
now.
like that off.
Yeah, we're on the way to 490 members, and then we're stopping recruitment. So get in now. Average of 40 members online at all times usually.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dang.
Actually, that's the crazy part. Is the nonstop. You guys have like possibly even surpassed Eve in terms of just like round the clock player base. Because
We
I
demolished Eva a long time ago. We're the best. We know it.
just I mean, like, I know that there are just heaps of y'all all the time. The Discord, same as with Eve, like there's almost always somebody in there. And I know for a fact with ESO we have not only NA but also EU and Aussie time zone players on there.
Australia, man, they're deep.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. They get a better ping on NA than EU. What's
Yeah.
up with that?
I mean, it's the giant cable line going across the Pacific Ocean as opposed to trying to like navigate across the Indian Ocean and then via like multiple relays across land there. The Pacific
I don't
Ocean
know
is
about these. I don't know about these internet lines, but
well, it's I mean, think about it this way. With the Pacific Ocean, you basically just run a giant damn cable across the entire ocean. Boom bam. You have like a relay, you know, on the west end of the Pacific. Maybe you have relays on islands out there, probably in Hawaii and a couple other locations, but there are far fewer handoffs of the information. Like your packets aren't being handed through so many different hands, as opposed to if you were to go try to get to the EU, which would be like you cross the Indian Ocean, but then you're going land based from there on out. So there's a whole lot more handoff that has to happen there, and that's what causes the ping. So it is significantly easier, I would imagine, for Aussie players to just pop the Pacific Ocean with their data as opposed to trying to navigate all the way across land to Europe.
we were talking about that, and then Warden jumped into the audience.
Ears were burning. Warden, you're welcome
His
to come
ears
up here if
were-
you want to chat. Or you want to hang out down there, that's fine too. Well, yeah,
He's our resident Aussie.
one of.
Yeah,
He's boss Aussie though, isn't he? Isn't he one of our boss Aussies?
boss.
Mm.
You know, he's like he's a council member, recently promoted to council from officer. It's pretty much the same thing. But
Who was
yeah,
our one... Go ahead.
who won? What?
Who was our one Aussie person in Albion Online that like
Fiddler.
is near? Was it Phil? Oh yeah,
It was
Willie
Fiddler.
Right, yeah. And we
Fiddler.
would just like he would come on as everyone was getting off, and then he would just like go and mine shit by himself all night as everyone slept, and we'd always come back and there'd just be like 100 billion resources in our chests.
I was one of the like super late night players in Albion, and he definitely like I would get on, or I'd be on for a couple hours with him, and then I'd go to bed, and by the time I got up, he had already like logged off, and you know some of the earlier morning, like the earlier rising people that played would catch him before he went off. And yeah, you're right. There'd just be a pile of shit in the chest. You'd be like, what happened? That dude was a machine. Like that was like he was like an actual John Henry in terms of mining. Like he did things that were not humanly possible, it felt like, because nobody else was turning out results like that. And he was going like deep into red zones by himself, just like
I bet you that's what it was. It was like there wasn't that many Australian players and everyone's asleep, so he'd just come on and he'd never get killed. He just would not be cautious and just go for the glory.
maybe. I mean, like, I didn't get ganked that many times when we played, but I did definitely die a couple times. Like I lost an ox or two. I lost my donkey. Oh, I was so angry when I lost my donkey. Holy shit. I don't know if he ever got ganked. Crazy. But yeah, we play ESO.
But yeah, we play ESO. We do we do some PvP here and there. Warden's one of the PvP guys. We do dungeons, normal and vet. I'm gonna be starting up a vet night where people can just sign up, and then we'll get groups together. We'll get tanks and healers together with DPS, and run vets for some gear and monster sets, and then we're doing, on average, we're doing about maybe 2 trials a week. Our trial leader is gone. He's gone camping for the next week. He left last night.
Oh man.
So our trial Friday is going to be led by me and Serge.
Oh boy.
And I've got a special, possibly a special surprise for
Oh dear.
the tank. So there's 2 people can tank a trial, but sometimes if it's normal, you could just have somebody one tank it, and I might do that on one of our tanks. And I'll just switch to DPS.
That sounds like it'll be a hoot.
So yeah, we're doing that. You know, we play, we have fun in ESO. We're just a real good, friendly guy. We got a trader, and it's not the greatest location, but it's near a way shrine, and I think we've sold at least 5 mil. We've already had 5 mil in sales, probably 6 by now, but yeah, join us. You can message. You can come into the Discord and go to the welcome channel. Select the Elder Scrolls React button. Shout at somebody in Skooma Den. We'll invite you.
Can I just say, what a great name for a channel.
Yeah, we got this. There's a lot of Skooma going around.
I don't remember. I remember it was originally just called like Elder Scrolls or something like that. And when we broke it out into its own category, because it was we just needed more channels for it, for the officers as well as, you know, the bot and stuff like that. So when we broke it out to its own channel or its own category, there was a big discussion. I don't remember who recommended Skooma Den in the channel, but I saw that and I was like, that's the one. Like that's the one.
There's no debate to be had here.
Yeah, I was like, that's the one. I'm doing it right now. We were just discussing what else it should be, and maybe was it Zarya maybe that threw it out?
Yeah, it might have been Zarya.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was. I just remember
Zarya's the idea.
The idea person.
She's the head idea mother.
She's the Jobs, you're the Wozniak.
No, Serge is the Wozniak. She's the job. I don't,
You're the Gates and just steal their ideas.
I'm like the engineer that was with them, but then once the company really gets going, they're like, why are we paying this guy this amount when we can pay an intern less?
Don't sell yourself so short, Taco. You're one of the OGs.
Yeah. Oh,
the OGs of the ESO Rebirth.
The OGs of the ESO Rebirth.
I mean, it was you and Serge, wasn't it?
I come from when the ESO guild was last big. Before this,
you come from the previous Rebirth. This is the second coming, or the third coming.
The rebirth.
Yeah.
The rebirth.
The rebirth.
Well, yeah. If you're interested in playing, we are on PC NA server, by the way. Just hop down to Skooma Den, hit up Taco, Surge, Zarya, Dies a Lot after he gets back, Warden. Any of those guys can get you sorted out, guys and gals. Boom, bam.
Forgot that there was someone named Dies a Lot. You're just like, oh yeah, and Zarya dies a lot. And I was like, wow, calling her out, eh?
No, that's his name. His name's Dies a Lot.
Or him.
Yeah, dies a lot. He dies a lot.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm not playing, so I couldn't say for sure.
This is,
Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr. ARPG. Season 3 is live. Super hype.
Hell yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff,
I've been
actually.
playing, I put 30 hours in something.
Dang. What, are you done yet?
No.
How close are you on that season progression?
Let's say half of it's AFK time.
Oh, okay.
The game's been, I'm at 54, level 54. So
that's not bad. That's good progress. You're further along than I am.
I'm not done with the first level of season, but
yeah, I mean,
I just been trying to level.
Some of it's time gated too. If I remember correctly, they almost always, and people the players don't like it, but they almost always do some sort of time gate where it's like there's something that you're limited per week how much of it you can get or earn, and then they gate that for one of the tiers, so you can't advance past that season tier until the week rolls over, which is Sundays.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. New season looks super hype. I've rolled up already. I haven't got a whole lot of playtime in it yet, but I am rolled up. I am playing Tech Adept this season. The changes look hype. I'm very excited. Talking about the season mechanics, though, this is Season of the Void Brethren. New Void Shards. We have co-op Void Crusades. There's now a currency tab, which is awesome, so you don't have to store all of your assorted types of currency, kind of like... It's not as bad as PoE's currency situation is if you don't have a currency tab, but it was still pretty bad, and the inventory is far smaller in Inquisitor Martyr than a game like PoE, so that was great. Auto loot filters in, a few other quality of life changes, and then the actual season mechanics. We've got 59 new seasonal maps. You can earn buffs that carry over for multiple missions that increase your drop rates. There's a new boss to fight. There's new reward chests, ways to earn these different insignia, which is what helps you get to the different things. A bunch of new enemies, those are the new chests, and then a heap of new gear, stuff like that. So all kinds of cool stuff going on over there. If you're interested in checking out 40k Inquisitor Martyr, if you like ARPGs and or the 40k universe, just hit me up down in the Warhammer channel. Boom, bam, right here. Where is it? There she is. We can get you sorted out over there. Like I said, good fun. Good fun. What other games do I have? Oh, right. One quick note for TFT. TFT midseason, if you're a Teamfight Tactics player, if you enjoy the auto chess, auto battlers, firstly, I think Teamfight Tactics is the best. Just bar none. It's better than Dota's. It's better than the Hearthstone one. It's just a much more refined experience, and they constantly make good, positive changes that keep it fresh by shifting the meta around and stuff like that. One of those changes is coming out very soon. It just went live on earlier this week over on the PBE. It's called Dawn of Heroes. There's half the items that are currently available in the game are about to disappear, and we're going to get a whole new set of items to replace them. So when this mid-set patch happens, it's going to shake a whole lot of stuff up. Very exciting. To quote the lead developer, the mid-set will head to live servers with patch 11.15 very, very early in the morning on July 21st. The pass and store content will activate after my third cup of coffee that day at 11 a.m. Pacific, which would be, 2 p.m. Eastern? So, if you are interested in Teamfight Tactics, they are going to soft reset the ranks, so make sure you do a little bit of ranked grinding if that's important to you. Get at least your gold. And yeah, that's what's going on. Teamfight Tactics. Good times. Last but not least, Overwatch League. Elimination matches for the Summer Showdown are tomorrow. Vecino is in here as well, suffering alongside me. Neither of our teams made it to eliminations this time. His team didn't make it because my team beat him. And then my team just fell over this week and lost 3-0 twice.
Oh, my Dragons.
Oh, Dragons are top of the East. They're going all the way to Hawaii. There's no doubt. Like, they have to play their elimination matches, but they're going to smash, and they're going to go to Hawaii. There's no doubt in anybody's mind.
Dragon Boys?
Yeah, right now, Dallas won the first stage, and Dragons actually won last stage. It is very probable that it will be those two teams again this stage, and I couldn't tell you who's going to win. I would suspect Dallas wins because it's back to the meta more or less that existed when Dallas won the first time. But Shanghai looked really good last stage, and they did actually beat Dallas. So, and it wasn't, I mean, it was close, but it wasn't super close. So, or maybe it was. Was that a knockdown drag out? Was it a 3-2 with 6 matches? I don't remember now. I don't feel like it was like down to the last minute. It was close, but not razor's edge. So I think it's a very good odds for either team to take it. Should be fun. Because of that, though, we will not be having Strats Weekly next week because I will be watching that live. Because, well, I mean, if Houston can't take it home, at least I can root for the other Texas team. But you just root for
Go
the other
Justice.
San Francisco team. It'll be fine. You can root for the LA Gladiators. Are there rules against San Francisco fans rooting for LA teams? Is that a thing? I'm not sure. What's the rivalry over there on the West
The
Coast?
California rules.
Mm-hmm. See here, a win for Dallas is a win for Texas, which counts. So I'm all about it. Vecino says it's not allowed in other sports. But what about? I mean, there's two LA teams. I know the LA teams would never root for each other. That'd be like the Yankees and the Mets fans rooting for each other, and that's just unacceptable. He's typing in the Strats Weekly chat. I'm just reading it. Right, and like they'll never root for each other. But as a San Francisco fan, are you allowed to root for the other California team just so that the title comes home to Cali? Because Gladiators are in, I think, or they're at least. Actually, I don't know if Glad's made it for sure. I know
They are at the bottom of the
cutoff.
Yeah, they're at
Oh,
they're right above the cutoff.
Vecino has some very strong words about which team his wife roots for. To quote him, quote, like a traitor. So I'm gonna guess.
James.
I am gonna guess that Vecino is not gonna root for the Gladiators, and he's just gonna be salty that the Outlaws clapped those cheeks on the Shock, and then the Outlaws finished below the Shock in the standings, which hurts for the stage. I think we finished directly below them. Bullshit. Oh well, what are you gonna do about it? Nothing doing. So yeah, that's what's going on with Overwatch League.
Yeah, I think that might be you might be the only one that'll be like, oh yeah,
London is also
Texas
dead.
bringing it home.
Oh, London
Fake
is
London. Fake London.
dude. London's in a rough spot. London, I'll put it this way: London and Titans, Vancouver Titans, are basically season 1 Florida and Shanghai Dragons. Like they're gonna play each other and try to get their first dub each. It's looking rough. Looking rough for those teams. Feel bad for Light Force. Poor guy.
No.
An OG
Especially when you got
Titans
two
fan.
Canadian teams going at each other.
I mean, at least the Defiant looked pretty okay, and Light Force has something to root for because Light Force is an original Vancouver Titans fan. Like he actually runs a podcast for the Vancouver Titans, and yeah, boy, are they just a hot mess this year. It's rough. It's real rough. Apparently, the management is just pants on head dumb at the moment as well.
They can go the way of Boston. I was like, what the hell are they doing winning 3-0s everywhere?
Oh, I mean, you know exactly what happens, Eric. You stopped rooting for him, and so
Yeah, I switched.
as soon as you started rooting for Florida, they went on a 7-loss streak.
Yep.
Just root
And
for
then Boston just like, yeah, all right, we'll go.
Boston.
They
Figured
fell
it out.
into a deep depression after Zarek stopped cheering for him. Like, what's even the point now? Who are we even playing for?
Yeah, I'm gonna. What is it? I need to start rooting for Houston. Sounds like.
No, wait, no. Houston's already getting clapped. You need to start rooting for Dallas. Like, if you're gonna root for any Texas team, root for Dallas. Do me the favor. If we're going down the superstitious rabbit hole, like Houston lost twice this week. Like, we went from a 9-1 record to a 9-3 record. Like, and one of those games was pretty embarrassing in my opinion. Like, they're not a bad team, but we shouldn't have got 3-0'd. That hurt. Like, Dallas 3-0ing us hurts, but that was a close match. We tied one map. Other than Control, that was a pretty scrappy map or match, like all things considered. And Dallas is better at the meta right now, the comp they are playing, than we are. Like, that's just a known fact. They have proven it multiple times. They are just better. They are built different on that comp. Like Monkey Dive, they are insane at. I mean, that's what they've just been smashing everybody with. So losing to Dallas hurts, but like I'm over it. It's kind of expected. I would have rather taken at least a map off them so we place above San Francisco in the stage standings just for pride's sake, but I'm okay with having lost to Dallas. I'm not super okay with our other loss this week, but what are you gonna do? The boys did their best. They're under a lot of pressure, and there's I don't know what they're doing, like their swaps and everything. They've got some weird. They didn't do any swaps this week, or the stage. I don't think they've kept the same 6, which is an interesting change of pace for what they had been doing, where they were doing a lot more substitutions. But I don't know. I don't know what they're on about. Nobody seems to know exactly what they're up to. And none of it is like the secret sauce that puts us past those last couple teams at the very tippity top. Really in the West, it's just Dallas more than anything. Like, if we could figure out how to beat Dallas, I'd feel really good. Then we'd at least get to scrap versus the East. Like, we didn't play Reinhardt all stage. We have a great Reinhardt comp. Like, our Brawl is our strongest comp, but we didn't play it. I don't understand. Man. So, yeah. That's what's going on.
Maybe it's one of those silly things where they're like, that's what they expect us to do, so we're not going to do that.
See,
but then really what you're doing is you're just not playing your strengths.
See, I wondered if it was some kind of like 5-head play where they were going to intentionally show like double shield and stuff like that and double bubble, and then they were going to crack out Brawl in elimination to try and catch people off guard. That was actually, I was wondering if they were trying to like 5-head that, but then they just got bowled over. And they really needed to beat the other team we played. I can't remember who we played this week besides Dallas. Like, we weren't likely to beat Dallas, so we really needed to beat our other opponent, and we didn't. That was the big hiccup there. Oh well, nothing doing. We'll try again in the Countdown Cup, or Championship Cup, whatever it's called, that's coming up in a couple of weeks. With new hero pools. Oh, let Winston be banned. Ooh, it'll be such a fun meta if Winston's banned. It'll be Brawl AF.
I really forgot you played Boston.
Huh?
Was it Boston the one you said you forgot they played?
Oh, was it Boston that like whooped us? I just know we got clapped and it felt real bad.
Yeah, because that was like after we were discussing.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because we were talking about
getting through.
Like, oh god, yeah.
By them.
Yeah, it was Boston. Feels bad. Yeah, if the hero pool involves a Winston ban, man, if it was like Winston, Moira, McCree, something, maybe Widow, like take the hit scans out, like take a couple of the big hit scan threats away, but then also take away the dive. Be real interesting to see how that plays out. Turn it into just like super Brawl, but without a Moira to back it up. I think it could be really interesting. I don't know. Well, yeah. That's what's going on. That's what's happening here in Strats. Anybody else have anything else we wanted to talk about before we get out of here? You know, it says if you ban McCree with the soldier changes, we might actually see some soldier. I mean, some people locked the legs this week, regardless of that. Like, we saw some legs, and not just on like desperation. So, it'd be really funny to see some more soldier in Owl though, for sure. Right then, that's gonna do it. We're a little bit past time already. Thanks for coming out. The Strats Weekly. We won't have it next week. We'll be watching Overwatch League. I'll be up here somewhere watching it. Feel free to join me. Thanks for coming by, y'all. See you next week.